ancient, mysterious tunnel running 40 feet underground the old city of Jerusalem. And supposedly, if you follow it through, you're going to reach all the way to the Temple Mount.
The Temple Mount has stood through the rise and fall of empires, battles waged at its gates, and countless prayers lifted skyward. For nearly 2 millennia, its foundations remained undisturbed. Now, advanced artificial intelligence is uncovering what lies beneath, revealing hidden chambers and long-forgotten structures.
Amazing things are happening on the Temple Mount.
You will explain a few more things and we will go out just beneath the Temple Mount.
These discoveries may forever change our understanding of one of the world's most sacred and historically significant sites. Secrets beneath the Temple Mount, the mystery no one can touch. The Temple Mount is one of the most sacred and controversial sites on Earth, claimed by Jews, Muslims, and Christians alike. This is no ordinary place in Jerusalem, and what makes it especially unique is that no one is permitted to dig beneath its stones. For Jews, the Temple Mount is the legendary home of the first and second temples, believed to be the very dwelling place of God. Every layer of earth holds history and mystery, yet the spaces below remain off-limits, guarded by centuries of religious law and political tension. For Muslims, the Temple Mount is known as Haram al-Sharif, the noble sanctuary, which is home to the Al-Aqsa Mosque and the Dome of the Rock. It's the third holiest site in Islam, where tradition holds that the Prophet Muhammad began his miraculous night journey to heaven. Christians, of course, see it as sacred too, tied to Jesus and important biblical events. Every visit, every prayer, leaves its mark on the Mount's story, while what lies below remains a forbidden mystery. For centuries, whispers have surrounded what might lie hidden beneath the Temple Mount. Tales speak of secret tunnels, long-lost treasures, and sacred relics sealed away for millennia. Some claim the Ark of the Covenant rests here. Others insist the true foundations of Solomon's temple still lie deep underground. These legends have captivated historians, archaeologists, and curious seekers for generations, making the Mount as mysterious as it is sacred. But something unexpected happened in the 1860s. A young British officer named Charles Warren decided to find out what lay beneath Jerusalem. Working for the Palestine Exploration Fund, he set out to explore Jerusalem's hidden past. Of course, he was aware that the Temple Mount was off-limits, and digging there would cause outrage. So instead, he went underground. With ropes, oil lamps, and maps, he descended into dark shafts and narrow tunnels, discovering a hidden world few had ever seen. What Warren uncovered left everyone stunned. He mapped a maze of cisterns, hidden passageways, and carved stone chambers that had been sealed for centuries. One tunnel, now called Warren's Shaft, is thought by some to have been used by King David's soldiers to enter the city long ago. His work revealed a secret world beneath Jerusalem, but despite everything he uncovered, digging the Mount was still forbidden. From Warren's time to today, the Temple Mount has remained off-limits for digging. Religious leaders and local authorities have never allowed a single stone to be moved. This is sacred ground, and no one risks disturbing it. It once held Solomon's temple, and later the Second Temple. Inside stood the Holy of Holies, the chamber believed to hold God's presence. Its exact location is unknown, and many rabbis even forbid walking in certain areas because stepping in the wrong spot could mean treading on holy ground without the proper ritual purity. For the Muslims, the site is equally sacred. It is home to the Al-Aqsa Mosque and the Golden Dome of the Rock. It is believed that Prophet Muhammad ascended to heaven from this very place. For centuries, the Islamic Waqf, a religious trust, has guarded the Mount. From their perspective, any attempt to dig here could be seen not just as desecration, but as a challenge to their faith. Because of this, archaeologists, no matter their skill or intentions, are forbidden from digging. The risk of causing damage or showing disrespect is too great, leaving much of the Mount's history still hidden beneath its surface. However, religion is not the only reason digging is off-limits. The Temple Mount is also a political powder keg. For Jews around the world, proof of the ancient temples beneath the mount would be priceless. It would be the ultimate confirmation of their history. But even suggesting a search for that proof can cause tension. For Muslims, the mount is already living proof of their long and sacred history. They see outside interest in the site as a challenge to their claim. Since 1967, after the Six-Day War, the mount has been under Israeli security control. But day to day, the Islamic Waqf manages the religious side of the site. This uneasy balance, with Israel holding the keys but the Waqf running the house, has prevented open conflict most of the time. Still, it is fragile. A single change to the status quo can spark protests, violence, or even war. In this tense environment, archaeology becomes more than digging. Every pot, coin, or carved stone could be used as evidence. Each discovery could shift the story of who belongs and who rules. That's why the Temple Mount is considered forbidden ground for archaeologists. Unlike the pyramids of Egypt or Petra's ruins, no one can pick up a shovel here. Its secrets remain buried under centuries of soil and stone. The Temple Mount has endured empires, conquests, and centuries of prayer. It carries the memories of three faiths: Jewish, Muslim, and Christian. Yet beneath its surface, history waits, locked away by faith and politics. This is more than soil and stone. It is belief, identity, and hope. Until a way emerges to uncover what's inside without disturbing the delicate balance, its deepest secrets will stay hidden. Imagine uncovering the Temple Mount's hidden past without moving a single stone. What if the very earth beneath it could finally whisper the secrets it has kept for thousands of years? The accidental discovery, the sifting project. For a very long time, the Temple Mount was off-limits. Politics and religion made it too dangerous to dig, and archaeologists were left frustrated. They wanted answers, but the hill would not give up its secrets easily. But in the late 1990s, something surprising happened. The Mount's hidden treasures began to appear through ordinary soil. Yeah, you heard that right. The soil of the Temple Mount has been keeping secrets for thousands of years. Hidden chambers, lost rituals, and pieces of history lie beneath, waiting for someone to uncover their story. By chance, workers doing routine construction and maintenance removed tons of dirt from the mount and dumped it into the Kidron Valley, just outside the old city of Jerusalem. This work was carried out by the Islamic Waqf, which manages the site, during renovations in 1999 and 2000. On the surface, it seemed ordinary, just dirt and rubble cleared away. But buried in that soil were centuries of history, pressed together and waiting for someone to notice. Among the discarded material were pottery shards, coins, and fragments of inscriptions that had been hidden for thousands of years. Seeing an opportunity, a few archaeologists decided that if they could not dig directly on the hill, maybe they could study the soil that had been removed. In 2004, Gabriel Barquet and Zaki Devira started what became known as the Temple Mount Sifting Project. They brought the dumped soil to a park in Jerusalem and set up an outdoor lab where volunteers could help. Buckets of soil were poured onto wire screens, rinsed with water, and then sifted by hand. Every fragment, whether pottery, glass, bone, or metal, was carefully collected, labeled, and studied. The process may sound simple, but it is delicate work. Volunteers carefully wash and sift the soil, grain by grain, using screens and brushes. Pottery shards appear first, often worn smooth by time, yet sometimes etched with tiny inscriptions. Clay seals surface, bearing ancient Hebrew letters once used to mark documents or goods. Bits of bone, glass, and even ivory combs emerge, personal items from people who lived centuries ago. Each fragment is a statement from the past, a silent reminder of lives that might otherwise have been lost to history. Some of the most exciting discoveries are tiny inscriptions in Canaanite script, etched into clay long before Solomon's temple was built. These small markings reveal hints of trade, social life, and religious rituals from thousands of years ago. Fragments of stone vessels once used in sacred ceremonies, small weights, and ancient coins are also found, giving a sense of everyday life on the Mount. Each piece is carefully documented, photographed, and studied, transforming what once seemed like ordinary dirt into an archaeological library waiting to tell its story. What makes the Sifting Project truly extraordinary is the people who take part. Volunteers come from all over the world, crossing cultural, religious, and political lines to touch history with their own hands. Jews and Muslims, locals and tourists, students and retirees all work side by side, driven by curiosity and wonder. In a city often divided by faith and politics, this shared effort becomes a rare bridge. The soil itself turns into a medium of connection, proving that even in a contested space, history can bring people together. The project also changes how we see archaeology. Usually, uncovering the past needs permits, years of training, and professional expertise. Here, anyone with patience and respect for history can join. Children, tourists, and locals handle fragments of the past, sometimes holding pieces that may have touched worshippers thousands of years ago. Each small discovery feels like a collaboration across time, a real connection that makes history alive and personal. The Sifting project has revealed more than objects. It has revealed stories. The soil carries traces of daily life, trade, and worship, spanning from Solomon's time to the Byzantine era. Broken pottery hints at kitchens and meals, fragments of stone vessels point to sacred rituals, and tiny personal items show ordinary people living alongside kings and priests. Every scoop of dirt becomes a page in Jerusalem's layered history, connecting us to lives once thought lost. The project also reminds us of what cannot be recovered. Much of the Mount's soil has been moved or disturbed over the centuries, and some chambers, inscriptions, or treasures may still lie hidden beneath the stones. Sifting offers a careful compromise, a way of listening to the Mount without disturbing it, letting it reveal its secrets on its own terms. Still, the discoveries from the sifting are incredible. Ivory combs, clay seals, pottery fragments, and Canaanite inscriptions rise from the soil, raising questions that echo across time. Who once used these objects? What prayers were said nearby? What journeys, trades, or pilgrimages brought them to this sacred hill? We may never know the full story, but each artifact gives us a window into life on the Temple Mount across thousands of years. The Temple Mount Sifting Project is more than archaeology. It's a story of curiosity, connection, and discovery. Volunteers leave not only with fragments, but also with the profound sense that they've touched the past, objects once held by real people who walked these ancient grounds. With every careful scoop, the Mount begins to speak, not in words, but through shards, dust, and echoes of forgotten lives that tell stories long hidden beneath the stones. Yet one question lingers. Could these fragments be pointing to something far greater, still hidden beneath the Mount? What structures, what sacred chambers, might still be waiting in silence beneath the stones? Hidden layers. From chapel to ashlar, stones. Buried for centuries in the Temple Mount soil, a hidden Byzantine chapel has been uncovered. Its walls, etched with crosses and inscriptions, reveal stories of Christian worship long forgotten beneath later layers of history. It's like the Mount was keeping a secret, and now, finally, we get a peek behind the curtain. According to historical records, during the Byzantine period, roughly between the 4th and 7th centuries, Anno Domini, Christian communities were building chapels and churches across Jerusalem. Some may even have been on or near the Temple Mount itself. Evidence like the fragments of mosaic floors, marble columns, and religious symbols found nearby silently hints that these sacred spaces once existed in this area. Though modest in size, the chapel tells a powerful story. Greek inscriptions on the walls record prayers and dedications from a community that once considered this corner sacred. Faded crosses hint at centuries of devotion, and the stonework shows the builders meant it to last. Even in ruins, the chapel lets us imagine a time when Christian rituals silently coexisted with the layers of history buried beneath the Mount. Some inscriptions call on saints or include phrases from Christian prayers, giving us a glimpse into the spiritual life of Byzantine Jerusalem. Scientists even think the chapel may have been a stop for early Christian pilgrims making their way to the city's holy sites. Also beneath the chapel, archaeologists found massive ashlar stones from the First Temple period. These huge, perfectly cut blocks were carefully placed together, signs of monumental construction often linked to Solomon's temple. Experts study their size, the way they fit, and how they've been worn over time. These stones aren't just building material, they're a direct link to Jerusalem's biblical past, where kings, priests, and rituals once filled the mount. The ancient water system beneath the mount also stunned researchers. Cisterns, channels, and aqueducts form a clever network built to control every drop of water. This was more than plumbing. Water was vital for purification, daily life, and even surviving sieges. Experts are stunned by the engineering, showing how practical needs and sacred rituals were woven together. Here, faith and function didn't just meet, they coexisted as one. Artifacts found in these layers make the mount feel alive. Pottery shards, fragments of ritual vessels, and inscribed stones hint at worship, trade, and everyday life. Each piece tells the story of people who lived, worked, and prayed here, showing that daily life and faith were inseparable. On the Temple Mount, every piece tells a story of faith and daily life. Oil lamps once lit sacred spaces, incense shovels and small altars hint at ritual practices, and coins from Persian, Hellenistic, Roman, and Islamic times show that this hill has always been both a spiritual center and a bustling hub of activity. The way these layers stack is breathtaking. A small Byzantine chapel sits above massive ashlar stones from the First Temple, while water channels, basins, and pottery fragments weave through centuries of human life. The Temple Mount is like a living book, each layer a chapter of culture, faith, and civilization. Every excavation, sift, and scan turns a new page in this unfolding story. Figuring out how old these layers are is how we read the story of the Mount. Experts study pottery shapes, old buildings, and even tiny traces in the soil to figure out when each piece was made. From Solomon's time to the Byzantine era, every generation left its mark, building on what came before. Even reused ashlar stones tell a story of respect, of people connecting with the past while shaping their own world. Perhaps the most remarkable thing is how well these layers have survived. Despite wars, earthquakes, and centuries of human activity, chapel remnants, ashlar stones, and water systems remain intact. It's almost as if the Mount has been protecting its secrets, waiting for the right hands and careful tools to finally reveal them. And yet, there's still so much hidden. Beneath the chapel and ashlar stones, there could be chambers, artifacts, or engineering wonders from Solomon's temple, or later times. Every discovery raises new questions, proving the Temple Mount is a living archive. Each stone and fragment is a clue, waiting for patient eyes to uncover its mystery. But now, with new technology scanning where humans cannot, the Mount is slowly beginning to reveal what it has kept hidden for millennia without lifting a single stone. The Artificial Intelligence Scan. Now, artificial intelligence is opening a new window into the Temple Mount for archaeologists, letting them explore without digging and finally uncover mysteries that have lingered for thousands of years. The first tool in this new adventure was ground-penetrating radar, a technology usually used in construction or geology. Imagine it as an X-ray for the soil, revealing what lies hidden beneath. The radar sends waves deep into the soil, bouncing back whenever they hit layers, tunnels, or walls. These signals are transformed into maps, revealing hidden chambers and passageways. For a place as sacred as the Mount, this was groundbreaking. Suddenly, researchers could explore, uncover secrets, and follow the Mount's story without disturbing centuries of faith. By 2021, the story beneath the Mount got even more intense. Artificial intelligence stepped in, scanning radar data with a precision that would have amazed Charles Warren in the 1860s. Suddenly, patterns invisible to the human eye began to appear. Natural formations could be separated from structures made by humans. AI algorithms trained on thousands of archaeological records reportedly started picking up hidden signs, stone arrangements, symmetry, and alignments that suggested centuries of careful construction buried deep underground. The results left everyone stunned. Hidden tunnels and passageways began to appear on digital maps, some possibly thousands of years old. Certain chambers seemed carefully sealed, hinting at sacred or ceremonial use. AI confirmed spaces that earlier explorers had suspected but never documented. These discoveries didn't just expand Warren's maps, they unlocked a whole new layer of the Mount's story. Some even lined up with ancient texts, including the Mishnah and Josephus, suggesting that centuries-old traditions might be based on real architectural secrets. What makes this technology so remarkable is how careful it is. Unlike traditional digs that can harm ancient sites, radar and AR let researchers explore without touching a single stone. Curiosity could finally move forward without breaking centuries of tradition, and even religious authorities who once opposed excavation began warming to these new methods. The new data let researchers layer old maps and surveys over modern images. British Mandate maps, 19th century sketches, and Warren's notes could be compared with AI-generated scans. Slowly, patterns began to emerge. Tunnels described long ago lined up with chambers revealed underground, and stonework mentioned in historical accounts appeared in the scans. Interestingly, history unfolds right before our eyes, layer by layer. Some of the most fascinating discoveries appear beneath the mountain's southern edge. Circular chambers, narrow corridors, and intricate passageways emerged from the scans. Many were filled with debris, seemingly sealed for thousands of years. The stones fit together with such precision that experts suspect ceremonial or sacred use. Could these hidden spaces be connected to the Holy of Holies, the innermost sanctuary of Solomon's temple? Its location has never been confirmed, but these findings have reignited the search, fueling curiosity and debate. The Mount's clever design really stands out. Radar revealed water channels, cisterns, and pipes hidden for centuries. These weren't just for drinking, they managed water for rituals, everyday life, and even surviving attacks. AI helped trace how these systems worked, showing the incredible skill of the people who built them hundreds or even thousands of years ago. Some channels might link to the Gihon Spring, Jerusalem's ancient water source, while others led to ritual baths for purification. Every drop of water tells a story of faith and practicality working together. Technology also changed the way people work together. Archaeologists, computer scientists, historians, and religious scholars could share scans and ideas instantly. The Mount, long silent, started to speak in a new language through patterns, waves, and data that humans and machines could read. This approach is now being used at other sensitive heritage sites, from Mecca to Angkor Wat. However, the more researchers explored, the more questions popped up. What else could be hidden beneath the Mount? Could there be chambers holding relics, inscriptions, or sacred objects from Solomon's temple? How were the tunnels used, and why were some sealed so carefully? Radar and AI can map the shapes, but they can't tell us the story behind them. Many mysteries are still out of reach, probably waiting for a more advanced technology. Future tools like AI-enhanced spectral imaging or muon scanning might finally take us deeper than ever before. The Mount is still both a wonder of history and a puzzle of faith. Modern technology is letting us peek where centuries of tradition once barred the way, but it also shows just how much remains a mystery. Beneath every stone, the story keeps going, layer by layer, waiting for patient eyes, curious minds, and discoveries that could change everything we thought we knew. However, AI scans are still peeling back the layers, but what's being uncovered has left archaeologists in shock. A sealed chamber buried beneath centuries of stone. Hidden from sight and untouched by modern tools, it sits in complete silence, its layout and purpose still unknown. Researchers say the data shows an enclosed space that has remained undisturbed for generations. The sacred chamber, the Holy of Holies revealed. Beneath the southern edge of the Temple Mount, researchers using advanced scanning technology have detected something extraordinary. A sealed, circular chamber that may have remained untouched for thousands of years. No one has ever set foot inside, and no excavation has dared disturb it. But radar and AI scans are hinting at a secret chamber unlike anything we've seen nearby. This isn't just another hidden space like the Byzantine chapels or the first temple ashlar stones. This chamber seems swallowed by time itself, silently guarding rituals, devotion, and mysteries that could rewrite everything we thought we knew about the mount. Radar and AI scans traced its shape, and what they revealed left experts stunned, an almost perfect circle carved deep into solid bedrock. The walls looked reinforced, built to last for centuries. This wasn't just a space. Archaeologists could tell immediately it was something special. Scans hint at carved niches and basins that may have held ritual objects or offerings. Tiny depressions suggest ceremonial use. Every feature seems deliberately designed, as if whoever built it wanted to leave a message across thousands of years. It didn't stop there. Clues of daily ritual life show up in the surrounding area. Clay oil lamps and traces of incense dust, found during past work on the mount, hint that spaces like this once glowed with soft, flickering light. Tiny tokens and other small artifacts recovered through the Temple Mount Sifting project reveal repeated patterns of worship. These were rituals performed by people whose names have been lost to history, but whose devotion still whispers through the centuries. Adding to the mystery, a Paleo-Hebrew inscription carved into stone has been found nearby. Though worn, it dates back to the First Temple period, connecting the area to a time of kings, priests, and strict sacred practices. While it wasn't discovered inside the chamber itself, it supports the idea that this hidden space was part of a larger sacred complex. This isn't just a relic, it's a message across thousands of years, carved in stone as proof of devotion. The chamber's design, as revealed by scans, makes its sacred purpose clear. Circular basins may have held water for purification, while oil lamps and traces of incense hint at offerings meant to honor a divine presence. Tiny tokens tucked into niches could represent prayers or dedications, repeated again and again by worshippers long forgotten. This isn't just theory, it's ritual life brought to light through technology. Without AI, radar, and careful analysis, this chamber might still be hidden beneath the mount. Non-invasive methods allow scholars to study it without touching a single stone, respecting faith, politics, and history, while opening a door to a space untouched for thousands of years. Scientists remain extremely careful, and no one has entered the chamber, nor has any excavation been done. But combining AI scans, historical comparisons, and artifact studies is helping researchers piece together its story. Even unseen, the chamber speaks of a time when religious life was deliberate and architectural planning precise. The implications are staggering. If this space is connected to the Holy of Holies, it could be a direct link to the First Temple itself, though that remains a theory. For centuries, scientists debated where the Holy of Holies might have been, and now modern technology may have mapped a candidate site without moving a single stone. This chamber forms a rare bridge between scripture and evidence, belief and archaeology, and faith and science. It also shows the Temple Mount's layered complexity. Byzantine chapels, First Temple ashlar stones, water systems, ceremonial basins, and now this hidden space reveal that the Mount is far more than a historic site. It's a living archive of faith, skill, and human imagination preserved across thousands of years. However, the mysteries are far from solved, and questions still linger. What rituals were performed here, and who performed them? Could further study reveal more about the priests, worshippers, or sacred objects once kept inside? The Mount still guards some secrets, revealing only what it chooses. For anyone standing above it today, imagining what lies beneath is both humbling and thrilling. This chamber represents both revelation and restraint, a bridge between history and faith, between what we can see and what we can only imagine. More than stone and soil, it is a story frozen in time. Perhaps the Mount's most profound secret, patiently waiting beneath centuries of devotion, construction, and prayer. But beyond AI, modern technology is transforming how we study the Temple Mount. Researchers can now analyze vast layers of soil, scans, and historical records faster than ever before. Hidden chambers, inscriptions, and architectural clues that were once invisible are suddenly coming into light. These discoveries are forcing historians to face just how much we still do not know. Beneath the mount, rituals, prayers, and priceless artifacts may still lie buried, locked away by centuries of silence. Some objects could even be messages or dedications meant for only a chosen few to ever see. Thanks to modern technology, we are finally looking at this sacred ground with new eyes and catching details that were hidden in plain sight for generations. Every stone, every fragment, every scan whispers of secrets powerful enough to rewrite everything we thought we knew about the Temple Mount. As this new age of discovery unfolds, what do you think is still hidden beneath the Temple Mount? Do you also believe the sacred chamber proves the first temple stood on this mount? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. If you enjoyed this video, click on the next video on your screen.